I can't talk about anything for this week's opening except for one of the weirdest walks I have ever been on in my entire life. I go on a walk in my neighborhood with my friend Tim because we were walking to feed our friend's cat. That's adulthood. A lot of feeding your friends animals while they're out of town. And if you're lucky enough to have friends whose animals you can feed while they're out of town, well, then you're lucky enough. Butchered Irish proverb. We're walking and we're absolutely gabbing, having the best time, and we find ourselves on a main road. You know what I'm trying to say, two-way street, heavy on both the car and the foot traffic. And we look down and we see right before our eyes a shiny pair of car keys. We're thinking we're good Samaritans, we are karma believers, we're also stoners. So our first instinct is to press the alarm. Perhaps in not a big city, people would have been fazed by this, but absolutely no one was interested that this alarm was blaring. But we found the car. What now, though? We have the keys, but we can't just leave them there inside the car or around or near the car. We could be accessories to car theft. And as sexy and dangerous as that is, it's not the road we're trying to go down. What if in that moment, boom, a car thief ready to give it all up because he's fed up with how difficult the car thieving market's been lately, cameras everywhere, child locks, button sensors and electric cars, you name it. And just as he's about to give it all up, he looks in or around this car and he sees the keys that we found and planted, thinking we were being helpful, and he takes the car. No, we gotta be smarter. We'll write a note. We'll leave it on the windshield. Genius, baby. We just had to wait till we got back to the apartment to get that note underway. Then we were gonna come back and drop it on the windshield. Now that problem was halfway solved, we get back to our regularly scheduled housewife talk. But then I feel a presence. And you know by listening to me at this point, I am very in tune with energy. And it's not particularly a bad energy, but it's not particularly a good energy. This kid, and yes, he was a kid. He had to be no older than 14, 15 tops. He rides by on his bike. He rode by close enough to ask how we're doing. But he asked it in this really snarky way. As a New Yorker, how do you respond to that? Correct. You don't. You don't break your stride and you just keep it moving, baby. And then he does this big loop, comes back over to us and mumbles, "Why don't you shut the fuck up?" It was a legit mumble, but we still heard it. Were we being loud? Is of course the first thing out of my mouth, which is irrelevant. I already told you we were on a loud-ass, busy-ass street that didn't even care that a random alarm was alarming all over the block. Of course we weren't talking too loud, you dumb bitch. Is not what I said in my head or out loud to myself, because listen to me, people. Our brains don't know the difference when we talk badly about ourselves from what's true to what isn't. Only speak kindly and gently about yourselves, okay? So I didn't say or think that. But I did think, is this about to be a bad situation? Is this kid gonna try some slick shit on us? He had quite literally no bass in his voice. And the little hairs on his chinny chin looked like they had been glued on with Elmer's after snack time, okay? But that doesn't mean he didn't have a weapon on him or that he didn't want to commit a random act of violence. If America has taught us anything, it's that these kids are out here acting up. He bikes away from us and then he circles back to us, and just with a slight key change and an octave higher, he says, I said shut the fuck up, while biking away, but eyeing us the entire time. Then I realized what was happening. He was about to pop his crime cherry. We were going to be his first. He was a crime virgin, but he couldn't follow through. And I mean, there could have been a multitude of reasons why he couldn't follow through. Perhaps karma was protecting us because we were being such good Samaritans with these car keys. Maybe he just really had to pee. Or maybe, just maybe, he knew he would have fucked his little ass up. Who knows? I don't. But the important thing is he retreated. We got our piece of paper, we write the necessary info on this note, and we go back towards the car. Now I'm a little bummed by this point because I want to walk through the neighborhood houses and fantasize about having a terrace. And the terrace is no big deal, really. I hardly ever get to go out and enjoy it, but I do get out there on Saturdays before I host my dinner parties for the elite. That's the fantasy I want to have. But now we can't because we got to go down the busy street to put the note on this damn car. And as we get closer and closer to the car, there's so many people around it. I start thinking, man, we can't leave a note saying we've got your keys on this window because anyone could see this big ass piece of paper on this windshield and take it off, read it, and then call us up to ask for the keys. We have no way of knowing whose car it is. Then they'll just drive off with their brand new car. Why did we think we could trust humanity willy-nilly? We crumbled the note and we made our way back to the spot where we found the keys and we just put them back. Unsuccessful in all ventures except the cat feeding. There are other ways to be a good Samaritan. This ain't it. Duh. Welcome to the Rocky Rundown, where you get to learn a little bit about my week. Party God Squad, hello. Did you have a good week? I sure hope so. Some of you may be feeling the dread of September just like me. I'm an LFO song in the flesh. And as they once wisely said to all of us, summer girls come and summer girls go. Some are worthwhile and some are so-so. My summer was very worthwhile and not at all so-so, so I hate to see her leave. But with summer leaving us so soon, we all know what's right around the corner. No, not Halloween, you little psychos. Something much scarier. Cuffing season. The Taken, they are sighing breaths of relief. The Pollies, they're all sending out their Google Cals to each other. And the singles? Well, we're trying to figure out where our next meal's coming from. I don't remember if I mentioned this, but Tinder does prompts now. That's right, prompts. So if you don't know how to formulate a sentence on your own other than hi or that fucking pair of eyes that I assume is translation for BCE, big cuck energy, not to yuck anyone's yums, just stating facts, then Tinder will formulate the sentence for you. Some people have crippling anxiety. A lot of people do. So I'm not even saying that this is the worst thing to help them get the conversation started. All I'm saying is it's false advertisement of someone's wit. And that's what gets me. Who said it? You or the robot, you know? Dating sites are just so weird. Once I was talking to a guy about laundry and whiskey because we were both doing laundry. And he said to me, why don't you come over and finish it for me? Maybe he meant the whiskey. Maybe he meant the laundry. Or maybe he meant the lackluster hand job he was administering himself. Who knows? But human to human, I wanted to know, does that work? Does that line actually work? Is there a woman you talked to on a dating app and said that sentence to her and she was into it and not at all scared of living through HPV again, so she put on her flip-flops and ventured over to your place? I was being so genuine asking him. Let's shatter this fourth wall of do we want to bang or not and tell me the truth. Does that line work? He didn't tell me. They're all the same. Someone texted me a photo and I needed to reference it, and when I went back to find it on my phone, I couldn't. I swore I saved it, but I couldn't find it. So I said, whatever, no big deal. I'll just go back to the chat and resave it. So I go back to the chat, I try to resave it, and it said I already had it saved to my photos, and did I want to duplicate it, or do they just want to take me to the photo? So obviously I say, take me to the photo. And when it takes me to the photo, it takes me to December 2021. And since I wasn't looking for this photo in December 2021, I was thinking, what the fuck was up? It went to December 2021 because that is when the person who sent the photo took the photo. Why am I telling you this random fact? I'm telling you this random fact because I have your goddamn back. Here you are with a lap full of treats and yesterday's sweats on, and you're sending out one of your best pics from the past. And then boom, new technology has you caught. Caught sending old faithful that you took in early quarantine days. Lucky for you, I do the groundwork so you don't have to. Here's the code. Take a screenshot of the past pic you want to send and make sure that's the one you send out. Apple is out here snitching on everybody. That brings us to Rocky's highest thoughts, my most stoned thoughts of the week. Number 1, life isn't fair. Play anyway. Number 2, if ghosts are real, what's scarier? A ghost under a sheet or a ghost that looks like Casper? Number 3, and why is it the sheet ghost? Number 4, if the sewing machine is in one room and you're in the other room with ripped garments in your hand, those garments are never going to get sewn if you stay in there. Go to the room with the sewing machine. Go to the room where it happens. And number 5, if everyone in the world took mushrooms, would anyone still need to take mushrooms? My guest this week is comedian G-Su Paek. G-Su's wild word was celebration, so I hope you have a party hat on standby. If you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can follow me at Wild Nights with Rocky on TikTok and Instagram, at Wild Nights Pod on Twitter. If you want to watch extended interviews with all of my guests, please subscribe to me on YouTube. If you want to support the show with your wallet, you can hop on over to Patreon and join for $2 or $5 a month. A big thank you to everyone who's written a review on Apple Podcasts, and a future thank you to everyone who's going to write one when the episode is over. It really does make a difference. And now, please enjoy my Wild Nights conversation with G-Su Paek. G-Su, welcome. Thank you for doing the podcast.
Hello. Yes. Thank you, Rocky. Thank you for having me.
I'm very excited to have you. Now tell me, are you in Austin right now or are you in LA? Where are you at?
Yeah, I'm located in Austin, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
It's where I primarily spend most of my time.
Yeah, but you do spend a little time in LA, right?
Yeah. I was there a couple of years back for a program called CBS Showcase, which I'm sure we'll get into more later.
But, absolutely. Yeah, I've definitely heard of it. I heard of that. So you spent most of your time there then, but now you're in Austin. Mm-hmm. Summer's winding down. Are you feeling good? Did you have a good summer?
Yeah, I work remote for a healthcare company.
Mm-hmm.
Got to pay the bills, but
of course.
So there's no like summers off. So every day kind of just feels like a blur until it's the weekend. So yeah. I'm glad summer's winding down so it's not hot as fuck anymore.
Yeah, it's miserable.
But as far as like recognizing, summer,
yeah,
that never really happened.
No. The time just keeps going. Well, that's okay because you know what? For me, I also work during the week. And so every time the weekends come, it's a bit of a celebration.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
I see what you're doing.
You see what I'm doing. So G-Su's wild word was celebration. So G-Su, take us into your wild night story, celebration.
Yeah. So the story I kind of wanted to tell that I felt okay about telling, because there are certain stories that I think, I just can't tell for fear of my employer.
I understand.
I understand. Things. But no, the story I wanted to tell was about my friends and kind of my core group of friends growing up. But it was a specific night where there was 4 of us. We all grew up together. And the first person to have a child, right? They were about to have a kid. It was, I think, basically a couple of nights before the kid was supposed to be born. And we decided to kind of have an impromptu bachelor party. quote unquote, not
Had
really
he-
a bachelor.
He had
Yeah.
not had a bachelor party previously.
No, him and his partner weren't married at the time, so it was just, having the kid. So, but he knew going into the, it was like, okay, time to start a new life, etc.
Exactly.
So yeah, he was starting a new life, and to help set the stage of like who these people are.
Yes, please.
Yeah, there's four of us. So myself, G-Su, my friend Vince, my other friend Rick, and then this friend, his name is Andy.
Got it.
And so we're kind of, four buddies. And so we decided to throw this impromptu bachelor party at my house. Now, at the time, I'm in my parents' house in Brownsville, Texas, which is where I'm from. I'm from South Texas.
Gotcha. So you're at your parents.
Yep. Yeah. And so, they were actually in Korea, kind of semi-retired. I'm Korean. And I was just living in the house by myself. And so we decided to have this kind of boys' night. So we, fire up the grill, get some drinks going. And out of nowhere, someone brings out 4 cigars. Now,
okay.
So yeah, at this point, I'd never smoked a cigar before. And so this was my first time. And I didn't realize that you're not supposed to smoke a cigar indoors. Because, certain things not supposed to smoke indoors. Didn't realize that because the things I'd been smoking before were okay to smoke indoors.
And okay, gotcha. Yeah.
And but anyway, so decided to light up these big old bad boys indoors.
Gotcha.
This caused a series of events, but long story short, my house that I lived in smelled like a humidifier or humidor for the next like 6 months. And this was me airing out the house every day. But anyway, that aside, so we were smoking cigars.
Okay.
And then,
wait, I just want to take it back. Can you said it caused a series of events. Could you give us an example of one of the events that caused?
Well, so as an example, one was we were smoking and some of the ash got on part of the sofa. So some of the sofa caught on fire. And so, but it was like, it's a small little cigar. It's not like
but it's still a hole. Yeah.
It was just the whole, but then like when it happened, everyone kind of panicked, but we were all kind of drunk already.
Yeah.
So then it was just a lot of like, what do we do type hijinks, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Love hijink.
But anyway, the night was also kind of an interesting night because we decided to this is gonna sound so dorky. I don't know why I'm telling this story.
No.
My friends, we all like to play video games like everybody does. And we decided to play fighting games, so like Street Fighter and things like that. For
like
shots.
Old school game.
Yeah, for shots. And we're specifically playing Marvel versus Capcom 2. I don't know why that's even important to this story.
There might be somebody listening who likes, what was the second one? We love Marvel. I'm a big Marvel supporter, but
yeah, Marvel versus Capcom. It's NBC too. Yeah,
what's Capcom? Yeah,
Capcom is the company that makes like Resident Evil and stuff like that. So just like these two franchises fight each. Anyway, it's wow. I did not think I'd be talking about this.
It's okay. I want you to talk about it. You do not have to be embarrassed. I want you to share it like you are in the safest place of nerdom. If you feel like I'm being nerdy, I don't know if you did the Wordle today. The Wordle today was needy, but I put nerdy. So it's on theme.
That close. Yeah. Good. Perfect. Well, yeah. So
embrace it.
Well, then I will say that I am pretty good at that game. And so I usually end up beating my friends. But they decided, hey, winner will have to take a shot. So I said, okay. I won like 11 matches in a row and I got very drunk. In my own house, and I was throwing up in the toilet, and my friends the whole time are just laughing. And my friend Rick, while I'm throwing up, he's very drunk, and so he goes, "I'm so hot right now," and like out of nowhere, just kind of yells that, and then punches my thermostat, like the little unit in my house.
Gotcha. So he wasn't feeling sexy hot; he was feeling physically warm.
Yeah, I think so. Or
if he's punching thermostats,
puking. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's punching the thermostat, and I'm just wondering, like, what is going on in my life where I'm just like worshiping this toilet at this point. And my friend has broken my thermostat, which, by the way, it's my parents' house.
Yeah.
And I had to explain later how that thermostat got broken. And how I explained it is because there's like a door where that thermostat opens, but there's a door stopper, so the door part would never touch the thermostat. But I said that the door slammed into the thermostat, and my parents were just like, okay. But clearly that was a lie.
I'm going to stop you there because I want to ask you this. Now, you said the four of you close friends since you've grown up, right?
Yeah.
If you told your parents the truth, which you did not, but if you had told your parents the truth, would they have been able to tell which one of those three of your friends punched the thermostat? Would they have known right off the bat?
No.
Oh,
no.
Wow. All angels in front of your parents.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Like my friends and I growing up, we're like, even to this day, I do very well with parents, right?
Yeah.
So it's always like, oh, nice to meet you. But
yeah,
I'm not like a dirt bag, but I'm just saying, it's that
you're
extra
fun.
charm.
Yeah. So
you
tell them this line, the door hits the thermostat. They, I'm sure, don't believe you, but maybe they say they believe you because you're not the type to lie to them. What happens next?
So basically, I'm puking my guts out. My friends are, just laughing and breaking my house, basically. And we're in no condition to drive, so we're trying to look for food ordering options. But it's Brownsville, Texas, and it's the year 2010, 2011.
Yikes.
So like, I don't even think DoorDash or anything like that was big at that time.
No, you had to order the food. You had to call, or you had to I think certain places, pizza places, maybe that were more franchisey, you could do orders online, but there was no DoorDash, Uber Eats. That was non-existent.
Yeah. Well, so we were all very hungry, and so we decided to walk to the nearest Taco Bell, which was about 3.5 miles away. And we did that at like 1 a.m., like for no reason, just very drunk, and should not have done that.
Yeah.
Because not only did we not walk along we were like, let's take a shortcut, and it was like a ditch and all sorts of stuff like that. But we made it. We had Taco Bell. Times were good.
Yeah.
And no one died. So it was a good night overall.
Now, what did you do about all the damages in your house? I know you lied to your parents, but did you end up fixing the sofa? Did you end up having to clean this all yourself? Did your friends help? What happened there?
Oh, no. My friends didn't help. I couldn't clean the sofa. So I had to say that I lit a candle and the candle fell.
Okay.
So, just the creative lies had to come out.
Yeah.
But I will say I didn't have to fix too much. Like most of the things I could just kind of bend back or snap back in. It was like a door and stuff like that. But overall, we don't live in that house anymore. We actually just sold that house last year. So
because of you and your antics and your hijinks.
You know what? My hijinks were like 10 years ago. So it's I think it's past the moratorium on that.
Yeah. Oh wow. So what were you doing shots of? You never said.
So oh my God. That's such a great, because I was trying to remember, because I remember it tasting so bad. So I actually texted my friends about it today, and they reminded me. They were what we had. It was a shot we had created called Candyman Shooters, which is Evan Williams, the cheapest whiskey that comes in a plastic bottle, so it's the best.
Yeah.
And then it's that mixed with Yakult. Have you ever had Yakult, the probiotic? You've never had Yakult?
I've never even heard of Yakult.
Oh my gosh. It'll change your life. It's delicious.
It's a probiotic. I do love a probiotic.
But it's like a yogurt drink probiotic. So it's not like a scoop, eat it type yogurt. It's a drink.
Okay.
It's Korean.
Okay. But
that was what I had available. And so we did shots, we combined Yakult and Evan Williams whiskey. And it's not people mix Yakult with soju, which is a Korean. Yeah,
I know soju.
That stuff works, but it does not work when mixing it with whiskey. And so that was what we were drinking. It was pretty terrible, but we called them Candyman Shooters.
So no wonder you were throwing up. This is kind of like a dairy then, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would have thrown up regardless from the amount of alcohol, but
really?
yeah, it was extra, it was guaranteed at that point.
Yeah. That's wild. Okay, Candyman. Maybe that'll be a shot I make. But it'll just be like one of those things where I'm like hanging out with people and it'll be like a punishment shot. Cause that feels
Sure.
like a punishment.
It kind of was, at the point, like they were trying to stop me, or they were basically trying to stop me from winning. Right.
Yeah.
And they were like, here, we're just gonna keep giving you these disgusting things. And mentally, I knew if I win, I have to take this, and I don't want to do that. But also,
you didn't want to lose.
Mentally, I don't think I didn't want to lose.
That, because I was going to ask about that too. I was going to say, if you're knowing that the winner, that's an interesting choice to make, that the winner gets the shot, because if you don't want to do the shot, then you can just lose on purpose, right? But that's not if pride is involved. If you're one of those people who are like, I am a winner and I'm not going to let you motherfuckers beat me in my own home. I will drink as many probiotics as you put in front of me. I don't care if I'm throwing up on the toilet all night.
Yeah. And, on some levels, I think it was just like them challenging me was part of the most fun, because like them playing each other is just kind of button match. Like it was more fun for them to challenge me.
Yeah.
And so, it was like King of the Hill, basically, right?
Yeah. Now, so this night happened. This was particularly wild too, because it was at your parents' house, et cetera, et cetera. Had you all been party animals, the four of you together before, or were you experimenting with partying? Was this night to be like as wild as we can get, or was this kind of the norm, but it just hit the peak?
No, so we grew up in a small town, so it's pretty conservative down there. And I will say, like, nobody, like, the first time I drank, I was 19.
Okay.
And so, I was pretty old, and it was actually with these folks, and I got drunk off Smirnoff Ices. No big deal.
No biggie.
No big deal.
Don't mean to brag.
Yeah, I had 3. Then I threw up on my friend's roof. And I say roof, yeah, because we were on the second floor, and his like garage roof was there on the balcony for some reason. And so when we threw up off the balcony, it was just on the roof of the garage. Anyway,
leaving your mark. No, actually, for this show, that is important.
Yeah. So, we were like mischievous kids, but talking about nerddom, like growing up, I'm your typical like textbook nerd. Not to make it weird, but I was one of the top 20 chess players in Texas in high school.
That's not making anything weird. That is awesome.
It's just like, I did like golf and theater and all these, like the morning announcements guy. It's like I was that guy. And so, pretty straight edge and a little conservative in that regard growing up, which led to like, when I moved to Austin, when I was like 25 or 26, I actually did a year of yes type thing.
Love it.
Where I said yes to a lot of situations just to kind of get out of my comfort zone. And
how Shonda Rhimes of you.
Well, I wasn't thinking of Shonda at the time, but I guess I was channeling my inner Shonda.
I think that was the name of her book. I listened to the audiobook. It was The Year of Yes or something like that, but she just kept saying yes to every opportunity, and it really expanded her world. So, that's pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. I also learned it's okay to say no to things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But sometimes you don't know where your boundaries are unless you kind of test it, which is a weird thing.
It's not even that. I agree that it's not. It can be weird, right? Because you want to be a person of the world. You want to try things. You don't want to endanger yourself, especially if you are not used to endangering yourself or playing with your life. Because a lot of the times when you have fun, whether it's going somewhere or taking something or drinking something or even hanging out with a certain crowd, you could be endangering your life. So it is fun along the way to find your boundaries,
Yeah, absolutely.
It is fun to find your boundaries and to be able to help other people find their boundaries. Because if you can find out like where your party limit is, then you can usually guide others. But everyone has to be on their own journey.
Yeah, and like it's hard because now where I am now, sometimes I'm like, maybe I'm being too cautious. Maybe I need to push my boundaries again. But
Yeah.
then it's just like, well, hold on, you've already pushed your like you want to just keep going, which maybe you should. I don't know, right? Like there's still that conservative side of me, but at the same time, I'm very like, liberal mind. So it's
open-minded. It's open-minded, but maybe conservative with your wild choices.
Right. Because I know that choices have consequences and I need to fully understand that before I make that choice.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can't. You just have to make the choice.
Exactly. Oh, I know that. Now, you said you were one of the top 20 Texas chess players. Mm-hmm. Did you see where that child had his finger broken by the robot playing chess?
I read the article about that and I was like, Jesus, that's insane.
That was insane. It was like the robot just crushed his finger.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure like that. I don't know. Like that kid probably shouldn't even have his hand out when the robot's moving is my point.
Wow. Allegiance to the robot. Somebody is afraid of their title getting stolen by this child.
That robot did nothing. No,
you're like, this kid isn't even that good.
No, I've met some prodigies along the way and like, man, it is crazy.
Yeah.
What I have a really funny kind of anecdote with
tell me.
My one of my chess tutors growing up was this Filipino grandmaster named Raymond Duque, and it's great because he has beef or had beef with Dustin Diamond.
Screech.
Yeah, because Screech was a chess player. Like he would show up to the like nationals and people were like, oh, that's Dustin Diamond. But like this was also when Dustin Diamond was like doing sex tapes and it was just like a weird combination of things.
Wow. So he had beef with him?
We don't, to this day, I still don't know what the beef was, but we were having dinner in a restaurant one time. And then Raymond, he's, like I said, he's this Filipino man. So he, all of a sudden, he like bolts up and he stands up and he throws him like a $20 bill on the table. And then he goes, I must go. Like, I must go. And just like runs out. And we're like, what happened? And we look around and Dustin Diamond has walked into the restaurant. So we're just like, what he happened? Ran out. Yeah, like he was gonna murder him. I don't know.
Oh my God. And Dustin Diamond, I'm assuming, was pretty good.
Well, to be honest, I've never even seen him play chess. Like he was there, but I never like saw him play. But
maybe he was just an observer.
Maybe. Like to be honest, like at those tournaments, there's some ridiculously good people.
Really?
I mean, yeah. I mean, these are all the future like this was like nationals, right? National state.
He is passed away, I think, right? He's no longer with us.
That's correct.
Oh man,
he's screeching in heaven now.
He's screeching in heaven. Saved by the Bell. That used to be one of my favorite shows ever.
Oh yeah, no, same. I grew up with that. For me, it was like Saved by the Bell was later, but initially it was like Family Matters, Step by Step.
Yeah, I was a big Family Matters person older. Too. No, I those were all the shows I grew up on too. And so maybe you're not as older as you think. Maybe we're not older. Maybe we reframe that sentence to we're a new version of younger.
We're vintage.
Vintage. Yeah. Retro. Retro. That would be a good word. Yeah. No, I loved Saved by the Bell. I remember I liked Zach Morris so much that time out. I would sit on the edge of my parents' bed and they had this little TV and I would watch Saved by the Bell. And every time there was a commercial, Zach, all their teeth were so white. Every time there was a commercial, I would run to the bathroom and brush my teeth and like come back just in time for Saved by the Bell. But I was like brushing my teeth 6 times in between watching these Saved by the Bell episodes.
Your teeth must have been exceptionally white.
I mean, I don't know. They were probably baby teeth at that time because I also grew up on Saved by the Bell. I always watch the Christmas special every Christmas, the one where they work at the mall and they're Scrooge, exactly Scrooge.
Or no, you still watch that to this day?
That's like when the holidays come around, I throw on, you throw on the holiday,
like Elf or Die Hard,
the Santa Claus, and I've actually never seen Die Hard.
Okay, so maybe you're not as vintage as me.
I'm someone who should have seen Die Hard. I should have seen it, but it never ended up in my rotation. But I do think maybe this is the year to watch it.
Well, you should. I mean, you should watch it not only to see like an amazing Alan Rickman performance, you should also watch it because Bruce Willis, I believe, like can't really make movies anymore.
No, I think he's timed out.
Yeah, he got Zach Morris.
He got Zach Morris. Well, that's tough. Well, someone who is not timed out is you. So I want to talk a little bit about this CBS showcase because those showcases are not easy to get in. They're very, very picky with who they choose. So what was the process like and what happened when you got on it?
Yeah, no, it was actually kind of a weird mix of massive good luck and fortune. But basically, I've been doing improv specifically for over 20 years.
Okay.
So I've always done it because I love the art form and that's what I'm all about. I've never truly even wanted to go to LA. I know that sounds weird and maybe, whatever. But anyway, I'm just saying, so we did improv and we were fortunate enough to create an all Asian improv group, which Yola Lou's part of.
Y'all we Asian?
Y'all we Asian.
Yeah.
That's right. And we got invited to play in LA for what was called Comedy Festival because they had heard of our group and that's primarily an Asian American festival, etc. Okay. And so a few of us were able to go, so we went and we performed. And that's where I got to meet someone named Tess Paris. Tess Paris was, she's on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. She's on a few shows like that. She's an actress, but also at the time was the associate director of the CBS Showcase.
Okay.
And was like, oh, there's funny people in Texas or funny Asians specifically in Texas.
Yeah.
And I was like, not only are there funny Asians, there's like a lot of funny just people. So like, come on down. Because primarily CBS Showcase is auditioning from LA, Chicago, New York. And that's where they primarily take it from over the years. So like, how do you get into it if you're not from those cities, right? You're just blind submitting on their online, whatever. And it's harder to get through.
Absolutely. Way more exclusive. Yeah.
Yeah. But they said, you know what, we're actually going to add Austin to that list now. Right. Nice. And so, be on the lookout for that. We'll let you know. And they let me know and blah, we got it all set up. I auditioned, and another fortunate piece was my audition I had in the morning. And then that night we actually had a Y'all We Asian show that they came to. So not only did they see me in the audition, they got to see me perform live in a show.
Did they do that on purpose or that just happened? It worked out that way? It
just kind of worked out that way.
Excellent.
But I was, like I said, just fortunate in that regard.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I had a good show. And so like just the combinations of those set me up pretty well. And that was like late August. And my birthday is September 10th, actually. So coming up here pretty shortly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was at a birthday dinner with Y'all We Asian when I got the call that I was going to go to LA. So like I even they took a video of me like on the phone and I'm like walking back in. I'm talking to them about how I just got into it.
Wow.
So yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was like almost like a movie in the timing parts of it all.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. But yeah, so then I did it and I was the only one not from a major city.
Okay.
Right. Or I mean, Austin's a major state, but not from Chicago, LA, New York.
It wasn't on the map. Like the way Austin just kind of has blown up in the last couple of years in terms of comedy, it wasn't on the map in that way when you did it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, we were fortunate in like, I did that and they were like, okay, this thing starts October 1st. And like I said, it was September 10th.
Yeah.
I had a full-time job.
Yeah.
And I had to move to LA all of a sudden. And so I quit my job within a week, packed up all my shit,
right,
and drove out to LA and was there by October 1st. In fact, found a place to live by then, which also turned out to be a crazy situation. But anyway, long story short, that was one of the things where I was like, oh no, this is okay to push this boundary because this is like
it's for your career.
We need where we need to go.
Yeah.
And so I had some savings, and so I took that risk, and it was honestly an amazing process. Like the showcase process itself was intense. We were working on the CBS lot every day, or every other day, I should say, and getting a lot of that exposure to like how quick you got to write, and also like how you can't be precious with your words or ideas.
Yeah.
Because you're going to just be asked for the next one right away.
Right.
Like you have to be willing to just keep moving. But also one of the big things I learned from CB Showcase was like, you have to also know like your voice, like what you put out. So that was an interesting, journey. And honestly, Tess Paris helped me out so much throughout all of that. And now, in fact, she's now the actual director of CBS Showcase.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wanted to just go back a little bit when you said they got to watch you in the audition and watch you in the show. Improv, no matter if you've been doing it for a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, it is unpredictable. Sure. Even for the best of the best, it can be an unpredictable show. Something can just not land, or you could just be having an off night. That's the beauty and the gift and the curse of improv. When they came to watch you, did you know they were in the audience?
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay, so that's great that you still, like, not that you wouldn't, but it's also more risky when the stakes are higher when someone's in the audience.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I'm kind of, well, I mean, I think it's kind of apparent I'm type A. So like, you put me in a pressure situation like that, I thrive. So, when you're talking about improv being, chaotic, yes, but at a point, I know as an improviser, it's not about how great I am, it's how great I can make my fellow players. Yeah. Because that will in turn make me great. You get what I'm saying? Of course.
Yes, so I do. Yeah.
I will. Basically, it's hard to, and it sounds so stupid saying, it's hard to have a bad show, right? Because it's just like,
you're always getting something. No, it doesn't sound stupid. I actually was having this conversation the other day about talking about playing with less seasoned improvisers, or if you're a more seasoned improviser, you're always going to get something out of playing with someone who is inexperienced, because that challenges you. And in turn, you're helping the inexperienced improviser because they're getting their reps in they have to rumble with the big dogs, essentially. So it is a win-win. I would agree with you on that. It is a win-win, no matter what skill level you're playing. Listen, is it really fun to play with everybody who is a veteran player and you're just knocking it out of the park left and right? Yeah, of course, that's a literal magic trick. But to get your reps in and to actually get to that level, you have to put in the hours with people who are a little more inexperienced. So I definitely understand what you're saying there.
Yeah. And I was fortunate in that show was a Y'all We Asian show. So not only was it my friends and the people I performed with a lot, and that I coached them as well. So like, I know them on many levels, of course, when it comes to that. So very easy to just be like, okay, we just need to come in with a good energy and maintain, and we know we'll hit the rest of the beats.
You'll get your marks. Y'all We Asian, are y'all still performing? You are, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We have a monthly standing show actually here in Austin. So if you're in Austin, you should come check it out. It's the first Friday of every month at Fallout Theater, downtown Austin, which is 616 Lavaca. First Friday, 8 p.m. every month. And
first Friday. Okay. So listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. If and when I come down to Austin, I will make sure I'm there to see you and Yola specifically in a Y'all We Asian show. And we're going to party afterwards.
Okay.
And none of your probiotic Candyman, Evan Williams. We're going to you guys are going to show me a Texas good time. And we're just going to say yes.
Oh, okay. Yes.
All right.
Well, yeah.
Great start. Great start. You're already saying yes. Now, G-Su, do you have anything else you'd like to plug besides your social media coming up that you want people to come check out?
I guess, people can always look me up on my website, gsupaek.com, GSUPAEK.com. But apart from that, just my social media plugs and just the Y'all We Asian. Every month.
Asian. All right. Awesome. Well, G-Su, this was an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate you sharing your wild night story with me and just all the fun tidbits you shared. This was really a joy.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. And look forward to seeing you down here in Texas.
I will be there. I'm going to come. I was supposed to come a few years ago, but the pandemic messes up everything. So you guys will be the first ones I let know when I come down there, and we will talk soon. Okay.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right. Bye.